And we return for what could be our final game of this best of three, the grand finals of the Gameshow Dota 2 League. It's Na'Vi squaring off against NVMI with some familiar faces on both sides of the arena from the CIS Dota scene. Of course, Goblak spearheading the charge for NVMI. I'm LD, and I have the pleasure to be joined here today by Hani. Hani, Game 2 is underway. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I hope to see a Game 3 from this. I still think Na'Vi is for me the favorite in this series, and I think they will bounce back.
Okay, well, they go for the Razor here, so nothing too unusual, and obviously a very flexible opening for them. NVMI will snap up a Brew. They also take the Skywrath, and in so doing, deny one of the better heroes to shut down Brew in the early to mid game. And what I'm really wondering,
to see a Doom here. I really do hope to see a Doom.
You're thinking over, like, say, the Faceless Void?
I just think the game runs around Havos for Na'Vi. Like, if Havos has his right hero in the right game, he tends to have a lot of impact. If it's not the right hero in the right game, he tends to be rather useless. So, in the last game, he unfortunately, like, he had one of his heroes that he enjoys playing, but I just think it didn't really help him. Like, and as I speak of it, they pick Lycanthrope.
I was gonna say Lycan might be ignored in this first phase because there were games earlier today where Lycan was just ignored the entire draft, not banned and not picked. But well, we'll see him snapped up pretty early by Na'Vi, so they get a lot of damage and at the same time no real teamfight control so far to deal with the Brew.
But I have to agree, like for right now, with the approach that NVMI has, with having Panda as their team fight, pretty much running around the team fight with a Panda, I like Lycan right now better as an opening pick, as they're still open with their off lane. Next to Avos, obviously Funny has a big impact, and Fury, and unfortunately was not that big of a threat in the last game. Not to his fault or anything, but I just think it's better to have the option of choosing to pick Furion when it's a good hero. And in the last game, especially playing against the Wisp, you just struggle so much with that hero.
Yeah, especially when CK's the partner and already has really high base move speed, bought drums, and with the Manta, like you're not getting away. Even if you blink, he still ran him down a few times regardless. We'll see NVMI now ban out the Nature's Prophet. Na'Vi earlier banned the Centaur, so they want to try and limit this NVMI jump in, and we saw the Centaur very effective against, not just against Na'Vi, but in DK Phobos' hands in general. He has been unbelievable on that hero in particular, so I do like that ban versus them. I think it might be his best hero right now.
I almost think that the Panda goes to Phobos here.
Do you think
I've
so?
I've seen him play, like in the we had to play them as well. I think we might have, yeah. And I think one of the two heroes that he plays a lot is Panda and Puck on the off lane, and they have the Panda right now, and that's the follow-up Puck. So he's gonna play one of the two heroes for sure.
Okay. When they ran, I think they ran Brew earlier today, and they ran it for Scandal. So I'm interested to see if they go that way again. But yeah, with the Puck, maybe it is going to be the Brew mid and the Puck offlane then.
It's going to be the Puck middle.
You think? Okay.
Yeah, I'm very sure about that because I don't think they will run a Brew against the Razor matchup. I hardly doubt that.
There's always that option of running Lycan mid, which we have seen on occasion. But I guess it's the...
Denny is... I think Denny needs to go middle. I honestly think so. And he actually runs Razor really well middle. I think is probably one of the best with a hero in mid lane. Because he zones out the opponent very well.
So, well, what do you think Na'Vi should go for here? They obviously have no stuns, no real team fight, and they're not going to get one. They'll just get a Venomancer, so
they
a lot of push power. What do you make of this choice?
I'm fine with having a Venomancer. I don't see any problem with that. And it's a Joe follow-up pick by NVMI. I'm not very sure about that. They picked up the control before, so that was smart by Goblak here.
Ooh.
To kind of control the game, and Joe can stay back and hit from far behind. I still think if Joe gets caught, and I'm not sure what's gonna happen. Like what last picks or like what's the picks they're choosing to go with. It could even be like a Lycan solo bottom because I think Navi knows that Panda's gonna go bottom.
They have been favoring their Drow. They won earlier with the Today. They love it on the Dire side, especially just for the Roche potential from the Aura, and I'm excited to see if it works out again. Navi go aggressive with the Undying pickup here. Just looks like they want to just run NVMI over in the very early laning phase even.
So like I think like going through Navi's thought process here is so you have the puck and the brew. Lycan can do all right against both heroes. He does pretty okay against both heroes on a safe lane if he would want to be there. Then especially because they picked up the draw, I think they saw it coming, so they want to contest that draw. Switching up the puck into the off lane and having a brew middle is unfavorable. Race is going to win the mid matchup very hard against the brew because it's going to be like next to clapping. Pan has pretty much no chance of last hitting.
Right, and so then Razor gets free farm. He slows down the Burst Blink Dagger, and then the question is, can NVMI make up for it elsewhere?
I mean, what it comes down to pretty much, like I think, is you either see a successful gang in the Skywrath Mage onto the lanes. There could be a dodge and Drogo starts off lane. That's what I can see as well.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is, will Navi screw up on that off lane? And I still have my doubts on how well they're going to run that lane because this is not typical them at all.
Yeah, even when they run very aggressive supports, they're normally heroes that can transition more into the mid game. Like we've seen a lot of Venge, Skywrath.
And it's like always the kind of the same concept. It's pretty much two stuns, kind of. Doesn't have to be, but it's most likely something like VS Bottom, like a stun into a stun. Yeah. Leshrac, Rubik. It's heroes that can rotate and can kill. With these two heroes, you have to have a kind of a game plan on how your game has to develop. And you can't just do the YOLO, okay, we go smoke and try to kill something. Because with a Venomance and an Undying, that's never going to happen.
Yeah, not unless they get like a lucky haste rune for the Undying or something. And
yeah, even
then, it would be tough.
If you have a TP, good luck trying to get that hero.
That is the biggest issue right now. And they go Enchantress. So it commits to the idea of aggression. But at the same time, it leaves them still lacking reliable stuns. Maybe they get the right creeps for FNG, maybe not. We'll see.
I'm wondering how they're going to make this happen, though. I have a feeling, like my guts tell me right now, that GoBlack tries to do some kind of dual lanes with a puck on short and put the draw in middle lane.
So dodge the aggressive tri lane, put the puck maybe with the Lich there to just help.
And probably puck with a Skywrath, okay. I suppose, and have the Lich with a Brew. Okay. That's what I'm guessing, because in that sense, their offlane is going to be really strong. Panda will have a really good time against the Lycanthrope, who is most likely, like I don't see a contesting Lycanthrope here, so who is most likely going to go on the safe lane. And if you have a Lich plus Brew there, he's going to have a hard time. Like Lycanthrope will not farm that well. Then you have FNG, who's now the pressure's on them. Like they need to create space. They need to create a lot of space, and these gangs, especially the early ones, with a smoke rotation of probably Eng towards the top lane, if that's how they start. Like the standard would be you have Veno Undying walking towards top, and then Eng is going to pick up a creep bottom and moves towards top lane with a smoke. Most likely. That's kind of my guess.
The other option is
that they... Oh, sorry. Did they just swap around the heroes? Wait, did they just swap around the heroes? Vost and Dandy?
Or yeah. I think they did just swap.
Yeah, because I think they see that coming as well, and there's no way a Lycan can stay bottom lane. It just doesn't work. The bigger issue I have is that Dandy is on a hero that is not. It's not really his kind of style, I would say. Dandy does not like to be the solo farmer. He wants to be the hero. He wants to be the player that can create space and who can kill.
He wants to be the active hero on the team.
Exactly.
And
He wants to,
doesn't really do
like,
that.
he doesn't rely on other people, so he wants to make sure that the game is going his way.
Mm-hmm.
And as I said, like, you see the draw rotating middle, which I think is the right choice, because on the other lanes you just run at risk of just not getting anything, and mid lane, Venom dying just doesn't do anything mid lane. It's not heroes that can rotate to the towards the mid lane, so yeah, very smart by Go Black here.
Yeah, they're strongest when they can chase you in the side lane, but not much chasing potential mid, especially not with the Lich here.
What they choose to do is just have the dual lane middle. I actually think they don't really need that, especially when there's a Lycan middle. Why would you want to do a lane middle?
Well, Havos does find a haster, and this could be big for him early. He'll at least harass the Scarth Mage a lot. Hasn't skilled anything yet, and doesn't want to, but I thought he might try for like Static Link in a first blood attempt, but not going to be the case. NVMI have too many heroes here, so he'll end up backing off. Just simple harassment for now. So they're going to leave a Razor up against the Scarth Mage Brewmaster dual lane. And they will dual lane against the Lycan. FNG waiting for those first creeps to spawn and gets a Satyr. Not really the ideal creep for those early ganks.
I think the one thing that NVMI is, I mean that Navi is running for them, is that Puck should rather have a kind of not so good game on the safe lane. Like, if Funny manages to get the early boots plus potentially Orb of Venom, he like can try to run him down and like sustain on the safe lane, as the Puck isn't really that great. You're most likely not going to kill anyone, but yeah, like against an Undying solo one-on-one right now, Undying should have the edge.
Man, these are just like the worst creeps for FNG if he wants to gank. It's a Satyr and a Wild Wing Ripper. Nice harassment creeps, but they say we just gotta go anyway.
The smoke is just gonna come out. So they're not rotating towards top, which is, it's quite obvious. You're not gonna kill a Puck. But they do the wraparound around middle. I do like that a lot. I just think that they need to wait for the window where Dendy pushes out the wave a bit more.
Oh, this is
like
now
perfect
it's just
timing.
A
dodge.
Oh,
it's
maybe
just
not.
Gonna be a dodge.
It's close though. They get the enchant off, but now the Gale follows. This should be our first blood on Illidan. Unless the turn on Dendy comes, it's not fast enough. They needed that first blood, and Navi find it was just in range for
movement speed on draw. It's 10 less movement speed. I was like very surprised he actually gets the enchant off there, because to me it just looked like the timing was a bit off.
It looked like he was just flat out of range.
Dendy's dying middle.
Dendy, this can't happen. Not after they just got the kill. He'll bottle up once again, and I think that's just enough to get him out. That was close, though. And now Navi have made their way into the NVMI jungle, so nice ward placed by the Lich that's going to prevent any ganks from that direction. Unless they have smoke. Do they have smoke? No smoke. Meanwhile, Lil will deny an illusion rune bottom, so... Well, they got their first blood, Hani. What's the next step for Navi?
For Navi, it's probably just... Yeah, probably just zoning out the Puck on the top lane and securing that tower, I would say. They should probably try to aim for a Bastion on someone, so the push is going to be a bit faster, but in theory they can just aim to push that top tower. Lich rotation is not going to help. Skyrat rotation can do work. He has a TP on him right now, but
so just try to transition into a tower push, and after you get a kill, hopefully.
That's what Eng early game excels on, that you can secure like kind of tower pushes. The Goblins placed a ward on the hill, so they have complete vision of the rotation right now, and it probably is going to end up with them just standing there and waiting.
And there's no courier or anything like that. It's already past the 3-minute mark, so...
Yeah, they pinged it out, but I feel like the movement that NVMI is doing right now, they should know that there's a ward up the hill. The way they're positioning themselves.
They're playing awful defensively to not know this one's coming, and the backstep will come. Not actually in range for anything. They will be thwarted in their efforts, and...
It's actually it's really interesting what they're doing right now, because right now, they have no way of entering that mid lane again if they stay ready. Yeah, and as you can see, the Venom is not going to let them on the hill.
So they have to run all the way around.
Yeah, exactly. This is going to transition into a tower push, and they have no chance of entering. They have no chance of entering the area.
Oh, unless they let them back up, which Navi have done. They've allowed them back into the lane. But the tower's taken about 1,000 HP in damage. Gale. Gale into Goblax. Now slowed. There's a net that can come through here as well, and they're going to try to surround him with the Wolves. They start to run Goblax down, dropping pretty quickly to this right-click damage. One more auto attack. He gets denied. Denied by Illidan. Frustration for Na'Vi. And they're not actually taking the tower yet, but it is close to being killed off. And this will give the Drought fits in terms of finding safe space to farm, if it does go down. Well, they have been aggressive, and actually they're just going to deny the tower right away. So where does Drow go now? Just sit mid and wait for the wave to push?
If Dendi watches out, he's not going to push the lane right now. I think that would be the right move to do, because Drow really has no space. Where's Drow going to go? Top lane? I mean, Puck starts to get to level 6, and I'm about to say that.
Speaking of the Puck, I don't know
I
if
actually saw that kill.
Okay.
I saw that kill. Yeah, like, he pretty much, he stacks up the DK on him. Puck is going to sit at like 300 HP. It takes 2 hits and a level 2 soul rip, and Puck dies.
That's
an unfortunate thing right now, if you look at his inventory, is this is like kind of a crucial thing, is you go into the lane, you want to get a bottle, he could not aim for the bottle, he didn't have the gold for it, and now he's going to sit on 0 regen, and the push is coming against him, and he still doesn't have the 6. It's very unfortunate, but for him the lane for him the game and the lane gets very crushed right now.
Everything gets crushed. Now I'll get clapped. Gale as well, and forced to orb deep and behind the tree line, but
they should not chase.
They're going to drop the tombstone to clear the trees, and
actually,
with that, the trees being cleared out, Scandal will be easy.
It was the right move to do. I didn't think about the tombstone drop to destroy the trees.
Meanwhile, the Razor drops bottom lane. Lil gets the trade there with DK Phobos, and yeah, the tombstone drop clear out the trees really helps. FNG is going to drop to the tower, killed off by the Dire side. No one here to claim the experience, though, but they will take that second tower. Na'Vi, despite the death on the Enchantress, getting a lot of map control off of these fights.
And he goes for the PTs on Eng. I actually have to say, as much as I like the PT pickup to have a bit more aggression, I also think, like, I'm lately again a fan of Midas, if you can get it.
You think even this game, with how much pressure is on their laning stage?
I mean, the good part is, right, if you look at Navi's lineup, sure, they need to put pressure early. At the same time, Eng scales pretty well into late game. It's one of these heroes that surprises you here and there if you don't focus the hero. And yeah, like, I mean, it obviously it's gonna stop the momentum for some, but at the same time, I think Eng with boots plus Midas is almost just as good as PTs plus what nothing, like PTs plus whatever early game item you can get, because either you get caught
or not. Well, Cyclone up in the air. The Undying Tombstone has been dropped. They've used the Panda Split to try and force out Havos, but this Cyclone just not doing much. And now the turn comes. Brew Split's going to end fairly soon, and Havos runs forward, aggressively diving. The zombies are stacking up quickly. Now they Gale DK Phobos with the Brew Split down, as well as the follow-up clap from the Earth, so they'll get the kill on him. And now they'll look to push this tier 1 bottom lane.
The interesting part about this matchup is that Undying, as much as he's a momentum hero, he had the one-on-one lane, and it's pretty much what Na'Vi wanted. Like, if Undying can get a one-on-one lane and he gets the momentum early on, it gets really scary, because you can just pretty much commit to a push, and what are you losing? If a Panda drops his ulti, you're not going to kill the Tombstone. It's not going to happen, and as we just saw, the Tombstone is a really good tool against the Brewmaster ultimate.
Yeah, those,
it almost negates it to
100%. Weren't moving, and you can cast a few spells, but there was nothing to follow those up. NVMI are feeling a little light on deep push, to be honest. They don't really have their levels or items to fully engage. And Na'Vi are taking advantage of that. Dropping down the wards, they have already the level 2 wards, the key level 3 wards coming soon. And I think they'll just keep on going here, Hani.
And Dandy's pressuring middle at the same time, so...
Zombies coming out now. Phonic, he's got Tombstone, but can't cast it just yet. And he will end up going down without getting it off. Maybe that's the turn that NVMI need. Now they chase for Havost on the Razor. Without the support of the Undying, their lineup's not nearly as beefy. But like you said, Dandy is finding his openings. Mid lane, pushing in, forcing out the Glyph. Now he'll rotate towards the enemy jungle.
I think he was just a bit too overconfident here.
That Scarith Mage Silence was very crucial in that engagement.
Skyred Mage and the follow-up Joe, so he was like silenced forever.
It does kind of feel like a BKB game for... I don't know if for Undying necessarily, but for some of these heroes. Just so
I was thinking about the same of getting a BKB on Undying, but again, I think what I aim to do is you're never going to farm a BKB on Undying unless you aim for a Midas first.
You would have gone Midas Undying?
Yeah, I don't think it's bad. I just think if you get the tower momentum this early, you're not going to just fall behind. And this is kind of what I get afraid of, is that if you drop the momentum, what are you going to do on these heroes? You're not going to sustain farm. You want to be active and aggressive, and to be that, to make sure that opponent doesn't farm, is you're going to spend a lot of time on just walking around. But a Midas lets you do that.
This is bad timing for Havost, as they're going to leap in on him. He will start to steal some damage here. He doesn't have the mech yet, but the Mystic Flare just eviscerates him. Now the turn may come as Funnick rotates in. He'll drop the Tombstone. Chain Frost bouncing pretty nicely against Na'Vi. Bringing FNG low. He'll manage to heal through this. Funnick is duking it out with the entirety of the Brew split, and I think he might be winning this fight with the zombies stacking up. They're probably losing their Panda. The Earth Panda's going to fall. Fire Panda nearly down. Don't kill off DK Phobos in time, and he will end up blinking out to safety. But the courier walks right by, and that one zombie still chasing him.
The Tombstone is down, but yeah, they pretty much can just commit for the push here.
There's no Brew split. The puck almost has blink, but like, what does that matter? As long as
they aim to defend. I mean that. Never mind. Puck TP towards base. He got the blink dagger right now, but is he gonna manage to be there in time? It looks like it's gonna make. Yeah, he's gonna make the defense.
The biggest thing they are lacking right now is the mech on the Razor. He's still 700 gold short. I feel once they get that Na'Vi are going to be very, very hard to stop. Like, even if you jump the Undying, if you mech him, he's probably living, dropping Tombstone, soul ripping and turning the fight, and if you don't go on the Undying, then we saw what happened in that fight. This is... Still they need the mech, though, and he's 500 gold short. Well, Hani, NVMI, if we've talked a lot about Na'Vi being the team that has to continue to make plays, and I guess the question is...
I actually think the opposite. I think Na'Vi should be more sedative, like stay rather passive, make sure the lanes are pushed. Joe has a lot of pressure. They sure want to make sure that they don't get out of hand, but at the same time, how do they stop a Lycan at this point? If 4 people are standing on one lane, Lycan gets all the space in the world to just push a tower.
They did lose the Venomancers hiding in the trees, but meanwhile Havost is looking to jump in mid lane onto Goblak and Scandal. Plasma Field, the Scandal will
and
it out.
Like, the way that the game develops, where Dendy is the Lycan, it just kind of shows that it's not his kind of gameplay. He doesn't want to be the hero that just doesn't care about what's going on in the game. He just pushes pretty much. Like, he just goes alone and pretty much plays his pop game. He wants to join the team, he wants to join the push, but I think the most optimal way to play it for him, it would be to walk towards top lane, pressure that lane all the time, and if he sees 5 people bottom that defend the tower, he's going to take the trade.
Well, he has joined the team, and they've purchased the mech for Havost, but it has to be delivered still. And VMI making their way down. Chain Frost has cooldown. It was pretty big in the last fight. And wondering if they'll have a similarly good one again. Wolves working on the tower, but the puck blinks in, silencing Funnick, trying to focus him down. The Mystic Flare's there. Funnick won't get off too many spells. The Brew Split comes out. He will end up going down. No Tombstone for this one. And now it all falls apart for Na'Vi. 3 heroes dead. The Lich the only trade, and Dendy, he'll be forced to head top whether he likes it or not. He got the Lich, but that was it.
I was about to say right before the fight starts, we had to take a look at the Undying positioning. He is really key on these engagements. If he doesn't get any spell off, they're gonna lose the fight. And he stood too aggressive, so he got silenced on. It's really hard to get the right positioning in these fights because he kind of has to be there. At the same time, if he gets engaged on, they're gonna lose the fight.
And he is kind of their frontline tanker if the Lycan's not there, because Razor's has mech, but still only 1000 HP.
I just felt like the push was too forced. Like, as you mentioned, they had the mech. Why would they choose to take exactly that fight where it's about the 200 HP that Undying would have needed to, you know, like, survive through that engagement, which he could have had, and then he could have dropped the Tombstone into healing himself, into potentially winning the fight. They chose to fight before he gets the crucial mech.
Yeah, I'm with you there. It seemed like an awkward timing, but now they do have the mech. They pick up an urn on FNG as well to go with the tread. So everything that Na'Vi is building just focused on these next 5 to 10 minutes. They need this push to work. But meanwhile, NVMI start to get a little bit of breathing room. As Scandal will push up the top lane. He started to build phase boots. Now it looks like he's going back for treads as he's picked up a casual belt of giant strength. Yeah, he'll buy them now. And just a little extra damage, I suppose. But yeah, here comes the push.
You're so under-leveled in this game.
Yeah, the highest level is 11 at 50 minutes, and we've got a lot of level 6 heroes running around. Bruce Split, not ready. 28 seconds on that one. Won't be going in. Scandal. Orbeing trying to retreat out as the Wolves pursue him. Na'Vi will take a rather simple tier 2 bottom. Do they go Roche right now? That appears to be the plan. Can NVMI stop this?
I'm just... Like, if you compare this to other teams, I think a lot of other teams would choose to work way more on having at least one hero that splits. On Navi's side, you would probably have Lycan that, in theory, should be not always with a team. Because he excels on doing his own thing. Like, the reason Lycan is so strong is because if you want to punish a team and Lycan is not there, but Lycan is pushing another wave...
Uh-oh. We'll have to hold that. DK Phobos jumping in. They do get the tombstone off this time around. This could be a much better fight for Na'Vi. Chain Frost bounces in, though. Onto Vangscourt. Now back and forth. It still keeps it going as Havos chases forward, looking for someone to pick off, but he's been controlled by the Drow Ranger, finished off by Illidan. Who's focusing this Drow? They have to do something to address him, and they don't. They end up losing 3. Dendi, the lone survivor who can dish out much damage at this point, as Phonic just can't really get in range of anyone. He'll go back into the pit. Everybody on NVMI survives. Does Dendi really try to go Roche? With 3 teammates dead, 1 just respawning. They know the Bruce splits down, and I suppose they're just going to force it.
The positioning of Phonic was a lot better in that fight. Like, he stood outside, he did the right thing. Just unfortunate that, like, the tombstone just died a tiny bit too early. If the tombstone would have lasted, like, let's say 5 seconds longer, they would have had 3 kills there.
And that's really the one issue with the tombstone, is if they have a lot of right click, tombstone doesn't last long, and they have Drow, so everyone hits hard.
That's why I actually disagree. I really disagree with the skill build of Phonic here. He goes for the Soul Rip, but the important part of Soul Rip is the last level.
Yeah.
You have 6 seconds cooldown, and you choose to leave it at level 3.
Oh man, they are chunking NVMI now. With no Brewmaster split, they're forced deep off the fight. Illidan continuing to retreat out. He'll push them all back. Nicely done, but still Dendi looks to run him down. Will overrun that Drow, and now Scandal also scatters. Godblack still being pursued by Dendi. 1 or 2 more right clicks will do him in, but he stops to summon the Wolves, and this will cause his ultimate to end. Ends up not getting the kill. Now coiled and controlled inside the Dire base. He'll end up going down to a clap. Pretty costly.
He actually... It just shows that he is not that comfortable with the hero. He aborted 2 of his right clicks because he thought he could do the hit and move on, but he aborted 2 hits while doing the move on.
Yeah, just knowing the attack animation inside and out for a hero is, you know, just something that comes with playing it a lot. And I have not seen Dendi play too many Lycans.
No, as I said, it's not his style, and I think the adjustment they chose to do is the right one. The question is, you know, like, kind of where you want to make up for it. Do you want to make up for having your mid laner potentially playing on the side lane with a hero that he's more comfortable on, or do you rather choose to switch around the heroes and, you know, like, lose on that? And yeah, it's like always a giving and getting. I'm not very certain if it was the right choice, because the matchup that Havos would have had middle with a Lycan could have been, you know, like, more of his game. I think he struggles a lot on Razor as well, because
he's just so aggressive.
Yeah, he's too aggressive on his positioning, and he always, like, often suffers in, he overextends, he doesn't see his limits.
It's really why we've seen Havos normally going, oh, hold that. They're now chasing. They're looking for Godblack with the Lycan ultimate. He'll ice armor himself to try and survive as long as possible. They want to maybe bait out a Bruce split, but that's not forthcoming. Na'Vi, they gotta be careful now with the Lycan ult soon to wear off. FNG will end up getting brought down by the Scarlet Mage ult, and now Havos is chased. Where's that boulder toss? He can't even get a range for it. The zombies are doing work against this brew split. Now Funnick is mech'd up by Havost, and the brew split's just getting completely chewed to pieces. They're stuck fighting their way through the creep wave. And with the brew split down, he'll just boulder toss a range creep, because that's all he can get in range of. Scandal forced to TP out.
You see the weakness of this lineup, though. There's 0 heroes that have a disable, so every person can TP out. Every person can run away.
Yeah, it's pretty clowny, to be honest. Wait for Goblek, though. He's got Chain Frost. And Navi are clumping up a bit in the pit. Funnick sitting off to the left and a little bit farther out towards
They don't have the brew ulti.
They're jumping in with the silence. Phobos is jumping in as well. Phobos, from a long range, comes the Chain Frost. It bounces directly between all of Navi in the pit. Oh, this is not looking good. They instantly lose 2. It even bounces back to Dendy, then from his wolves forward again. FNG trying to run up the ramp. Will get finished off by Scandal. They've already lost 3. The Skyreth Mage Jolt was there, and they'll finish off 4. It's an absolute beatdown in the pit. They're going to lose Funnick most likely, unless he can do enough with the Soul Rip and the decay damage. But he gets silenced. He can't cast any spells. Clap. No mana for it. He'll be nuked a bit and forced off the fight. Roche sitting very low, but not dead as of yet. And then they Gale. And they turn this with the Poison Nova, which...
run into it.
TP. TP. That's all it takes. Goblek, though, will end up going down for this. And get another kill.
I had to look at the Skyreth in that fight. He was like, you know, the totem was still sitting on that hill, and he just passed by the totem, so he got one zombie at him, and then he got slowed down for the
and he got the bloodlust and just kept on hitting him.
yeah, and then he got slowed down for the wolves.
Oh my goodness. Those zombies are really strong, and they're starting to hit the stage of the game where they don't do as much, but, well, I guess the mid-game has been extended, even the early game, by the amount of aggression. And in the end, Navi will take the Aegis. Just seconds late on the jump in is the brew. Now he arrives, but Havost got the Aegis already, and he begins to steal damage. Scandal trying to focus him down. Havost, already having used his mech, has to stand and fight. The Skyreth Mage Jolt is there, but he gets pushed back a little bit too late. They can't finish him off. Illidan thinks about jumping into this pit. Havost trying to fight. Can they kill off the brew in time before he reforms? They will. And now they force NVMI back. Navi hanging on for dear life in this best of 3. But with that Aegis going their way, just maybe they can force the mid lane in. Havost is back to relatively full HP. They did lose their Undying again.
I think that these engagements are very clowny, but what I wanted to mention in the last engagement at the Roche Pit, before this one right now,
yeah.
FNG did a really, like, what I'm looking for is someone needs to shut down Dro, as in, someone needs to go close range of Dro. Dro loses all the damage potential she has if someone gets into that melee range of hers. And FNG just pretty much used the heal to run close, and Dro is taken out of the fight. Like, Dro does not offer anything if he does not get the marksmanship damage.
Yeah, it's especially important because they're running 4 ranged heroes, so denying that to this team goes a long way to shutting them down in the fights, and at that point it's just about the Mystic Flare. Like, that's their only way to find an easy kill, if either that or the Chain Frost, but although there's been a really good Chain Frost earlier, it's certainly not reliable damage. So nice play by FNG, as you point out, and Navi, they take a good Roche fight. They now lead by 2k gold. They have a Lycan who's farming well in Dendi. Pretty well, anyway. Picks up a BKB. But is it good enough? They do have heroes that fall off. I'm item
progressions right now, and I'm just, I don't know, I'm just not sure what the answers are. Both teams kind of lack disable, to be honest. Like, you have a Puck ulti that controls, and apart from that, you have a clap. But in terms of actual stunts, there's, like, nothing.
Yeah, and this boulder toss is just... like, the brew split is almost useless when the tombstone's there. So.
I just feel like maybe, you know, getting a few eels could be kind of nice to control the fights a bit better, and also have disable. Like, Funnick, I'm not sure what he's aiming for, but I still think, like, especially to dodge the Skyreth damage and the silences, eels is a pretty sweet item for him.
And we see it a lot on Death Prophets, and obviously it's good on her for other reasons, but that is one of the things it offers. Well, Tombstone drop, and now they charge in onto Illidan. He gets surrounded, he'll Manta, and then continue his retreat out as they try to Chain Frost and turn this one. Illidan, though, can't do much against the BKB'd Wolf. And he's just being ignored. Dendy's focusing on his supports, but now with the BKB wearing off, Dendy starts to drop pretty low here, and Scandal blinks in. He coils on 2. DK Phobos still standing through this. They're going to lose 2 more. Na'Vi have overextended. Dendy will be forced off the fight. Everyone from Na'Vi has to retreat. Phobos was fishing for a 3rd kill. They didn't do any damage to the tower either. They just went for kills, and they come up a bit short.
It just comes down to that it just seems like they're really not used to playing these heroes at all. Like what they actually, like the intention on their fight is, on how they want to progress in the game, what they should do. I think they very undervalue the whole idea of split pushing, because as I said, what's the disable on NVMI's side? It's nothing. It's a puck ulti. If Lycan gets a BKB, which he has, he doesn't have to be afraid of anything. He could be farming an off lane at all times because there's no hero that's gonna stop him.
Yeah, there's only Chain Frost to cancel a TP, and then, so what if they cancel TP? He could just run away anyway. With
Exactly.
Shapeshift.
And, well, it again comes down to that it just doesn't seem like they're comfortable with the hero choices they have.
They are still at that point, though, where one good fight could break the space open. But, that being said, the later this game goes, the quicker they can focus down Funnick's Tombstone, the more Enchantress not going for a Midas will fall off. Your Venomancer isn't hugely farmed. These heroes don't scale particularly well outside of the Lycan and the Razor, and so I am a bit worried if they don't break the space open soon. Will they have another crack at it? That's the question.
It does look like Undying is choosing to go for the axe here. How does the axe ulti work on Undying? Is it just increased damage, like or does it actually like I have something in my head that they changed that it goes through BKB?
Plague Aura goes through Magic Immunity. I don't think that's with the eggs though. I think that's just in general.
Does it? Alright.
I think so.
I thought it just came with the axe, but
okay. Well, it says in the
I'm not
tips.
sure. I'm not sure. So yeah.
It is a very powerful ultimate. If NVMI are like standing on top.
I mean,
of it.
if he doesn't just die instantly, which I think is usually the case, because he just gets silenced. Like the hero is so much, he offers you so much in terms of he can survive. Like decay, 4 seconds cooldown gives you strength. His armor is kind of bad, but like you can make up for that. Then you have a soul rip which you can constantly spam. I just think that the bigger issue for him is that he just gets silenced. He's never allowed to actually cast any of his spells.
Well, and I guess that that goes back to the question of like, is BKB the next item? Oh, Illidan gets caught out by a Gale. He'll try to Manta, but he's still slowed down by this, even after the Manta style. Able to retreat barely. As Lil moves in onto FNG, and Na'Vi are going to reset. But if he wanted to go for a BKB, he would be pretty close had he like skipped this point booster and gone for an Ogre Club instead.
I mean, it's true. At the same time, you're like, yeah, then he has a BKB and his mana pool might lack, and you don't really know how the fight like goes, because yeah, it's still very situational. In my opinion, what solves it all is they managed to get the early towers. You can get a Midas, and having like the plan that Na'Vi runs is to keep the pressure at all times with all 5 heroes, and you kind of lose on that if you don't actually can sustain in somewhat way. They're not killing creeps, so that's why I like the Midas, to just kind of have the choice of playing the aggression with not losing much.
Oh, Funnick. He dodges away from the Mystic Flare. Was coiled and controlled by Scandal, but now the turn as Vangscore blinks in. Gale's onto Illidan. Chain Frost is going to bounce real quickly between these two. Nearly finishing off Funnick. Lil will bring him down. Vangscore dropped low. Koblek in heavy pursuit, but FNG turns against him. Starts splashing the imps in. One more would finish him off. He tries to go back to the well, and it looks like he'll barely make it out. Meanwhile, the Brew split and jumps onto the Enchantress of FNG, trying to immolate him down. Vangscore will join this, but Vangscore's the easier kill because there's no untouchable. Will they finish him off? They do end up getting the kill. They get 2. NVMI looks like they might be taking this one as Vangscore actually runs back in to try and assist with Dendy, but This means Dendi has to, in the end, well, they'll lose only the Scarlet Mage and they get 3 kills.
This game just feels so clowny.
I like... heroes running in, heroes running out, constantly TPs away.
The way the fight started, I was like, what's happening here? Joe's TPing out on a fight they're winning, then Joe goes through with a TP. He could have aborted halfway and they would have won the fight very heavily. He chose to go through the TP. Then Panda jumps when everyone else TPs out. He actually kills 2 people.
Uh-oh, Illidan. He's gonna push Dendi back and then TP out, and I don't know if they get him in time. That was close though, but...
And everyone just TPs out.
This is... They need the Yules at this point, or maybe just a Basher on Dendi next is...
That was my thought next to, like, why it helps them to survive. At the same time, if Funnick actually, like, would aim for Yules, he could have maybe had it by now. I don't know.
It's also good against all these silences.
It's just good against, like, to save himself, but it's also good to just stop a TP. Like...
I mean, we did talk about it during the draft, but I guess when you look at Navi's draft, you're like, alright, well, maybe that won't... Oh, God Black. He's just running way deep on the mid lane. Next, and then he'll try to TP out, and he's gone. He's gone as well.
Oh, Panda cooldown on TP. Oh.
Yeah,
no damage there, though.
It's like, well, okay, maybe they don't have a way to cancel TPs, but they're running a really early aggressive lineup, so... Perhaps they just end the game before it matters. But now it's starting to matter.
The funny part to me is that Scandal is TPing out.
This is getting ridiculous.
The funny part to me here is that Scandal is doing what, in theory, Dendi should be doing. Like, Dendi should be the one split pushing the lanes.
I do want to point out FNG is buying Eels, just to clear that up. But yeah, Scandal is doing what Dendi should be doing, you were saying.
Alright, he managed to get the race. I'm like thinking of maybe it's even better to have the Axe on Undying. I mean the Aegis on Undying.
Just so he can go in and soak up damage and then come back and drop the Tombstone. Well, they jump in on Havos, immediately dropping low. He will mech and then be soul rip. This keeps him alive for a time as they focus down the Tombstone with Illidan's fresh BKB. Oh, he's strong right now. Chain Frost a bouncing between Dendi and Vangscore. Funnick off to the south, tries to make his retreat. He'll go for a TP out. This Chain Frost continues to bounce and cause problems for Navi. And Havost on round 2 of his life. Has he stolen enough damage? Doesn't look like it. The Drow Ranger continues to kite him. Continues to deal with him. And with the Frost Armor from the Lich, she's got 36 armor. All the bonus agility from the ult. It's too much.
The funny part to me here is I haven't watched a game, I think, in a very long time where both teams, like halfway in a team fight, they just TP out. They just TP out.
Yeah, every game is like Void. We saw a lot of Tidehunter Doom for a while.
There's not gonna be a moment in a 5-on-5 engagement where suddenly a hero just TPs out. But it works, because there's just no disable.
And if someone does that, it's like a big play. Like, they've juked into the trees, you know, they've used a Blink Dagger effectively, forced staff to teammate out. It's not just like TPing out in front of 5 heroes' faces. But that is what's happening. Scandal has his Hex ready. Vangscore blinked in, tried to kill him, but well, he will back out. And I'm starting to feel more and more concerned with Na'Vi, because we're at that point now where Drow can just focus down the Tombstone, and that's been a big part of Na'Vi's team fight. And
Oh, actually, I keep like thinking of it. I haven't like said it yet, but yeah, Drow is definitely like the reason why these team fights go so bad is because Drow's at the point he's not directly engaged on. They don't have a hero that just can walk onto him, right? Like that pretty much blinks onto him, and then he needs to run.
Yeah, no
that's
Centaur,
where Drow
no
gets
Void,
very weak.
no Tide.
Because he can't deal any damage. He can't take a one-on-one.
But he can now. Blink, clap again as Dendi BKBs and runs north. The Drow just standing her ground against this Lycan, who's busy hitting illusions, now finds the real hero, and is finally locked onto Illidan with the Tombstone assisting him. Might be able to kill the Drow off, but the Chain Frost bounces again. It's between the entirety of the Na'Vi squad, and the Brew ult continues to go. They'll buy back on the Drow. They're gonna lose one. The Enchantress 2, the Undying dropping as well, and Havos chases onwards. Now a secondary split. It's a refresher for the Brew, and that's too much for Havos. He just can't take it anymore. The lone survivor is going to be Vangscore on his Veno. Oh my goodness. If Drow can't do it, then 2 Brewmaster splits probably will.
I'm just heavily questioning, like, you know, I kept saying in the draft, I just hope to see a Doom, because I just feel like their strategy, the way they run the game, works very well when they have that hero.
Yeah, it gives them someone that is tanky that Havos can play, or Funnick, and could be
And
in
it
the
gives
front
them
lines.
normal lanes, like, no matter what happens, they get lanes that are... They can play with these lanes. It's heroes they like to play around, they can play with these heroes, and the game has like kind of a flow. Like I mentioned in the last game where Goblik was on Chen, there was like no real like kind of determination on how the game is gonna run. They just like, well, we farm for like 30 minutes and then we choose to end the game.
Unfortunately, they had the firepower to do it, but yeah, the Chen seemed random if they wanted to play it that way.
I mean, I don't think the Chen itself as a hero seemed random, but like how comfortable the player is at the same time making decisions, where I think most of these decisions are made by Goblik. Like the flow of the game of NVMI here in this game feels a lot more like thought through. Like you see what they do, their movement makes sense. It's like etc.
Gandalf, can he blink out? Oh, this is looking bad for him. He'll Shivas, but they will kill the puck. That is a very fat puck. Shivas and Hex. But yeah, basically it fits as a hero, but in the context of how they wanted to play the draft, it did feel a little off.
Interesting. No buyback on the puck.
They
Panda has one ulti.
30
The
seconds.
unfortunate part
two,
is
though.
that the axe is gonna just run down when they reach the base. But yeah, it's gonna be like around 30-ish seconds. And now definitely like they're all in. They've been from like 5 minutes into the game. They've been committed on just walking S5 to hit a tower.
Well, they're gonna get to hit a tower now. The question is if NVMI can hold, and I think they'll have 2 splits for sure. Already the refresher's about to cool down. Very little. There is a Yule Scepter. Just want to point that out. But TPs away are going to be less relevant here as it's Navi forcing the high ground. Dundee gets caught up by Blink Clap. Will immediately BKB. Tries to turn. FNG quickly dropped by the Scar's Mage Ult. And, well, the Razor damage that was being stolen. No longer is any being taken away. And now they start to work on Havos. He doesn't have a BKB. And the Tombstones drop. Just ignoring it. No, Illidan will clean that one up as they focus Havos down. The Razor will quickly fall. And it's time to go back to the base for Navi.
You can actually notice, like, the Tombstone is priority over everything, and interesting enough is that Goblik times his Chain Frost with the Tombstone. Like, he saves it usually for very, very, very long time. When he knows the Tombstone is going, you know, the bounces are just gonna potentially be on waste because they jump on the zombies. But like, it's very well timed on the engagements that have been in this game, where he like saves the Chain Frost for a long time instead of like just using it, right?
Yeah, and then the Tombstone gets dropped and he does nothing. If he just throws it out right away. Yeah, I see what you're saying. And it's like, once the BKB for Dendi wears off, he's just useless. And even before that, we're seeing the power of Frost Armor to deal with a Lycanthrope at this point. This Drow is, even without Frost Armor, has 31 armor. And with that, she's well into the 40s. Like, right-clicking her is just not an option.
I just think this game is actually a really good game for Lycanthrope, in all honesty. Like, there's like, as soon as you manage to get the BKB on Lycanthrope, you don't care anymore. Like, there's nothing until there's a Hex that stops the Lycanthrope. Like, literally, there's nothing.
Well, speaking of that Lycan, he works on Goblik here near the top lane, but unable to finish him off.
And he TP's out.
And what else is new? Meanwhile, our puck. Double splits coming out. The first one from DK Phobos. Dendi will join this, but his ultimate's going to wear off fairly soon. And Funnick tries to turn on Scandal. This might not be the right fight for them, though. They're going to lose this brew split, it looks like. The Lycan Wolves chasing down the Earth aspect. There's no Drow Ranger here. She's off in the top lane. They'll lose their gem as well. He did have a second split, but didn't get to use it. And buyback is up. May have to buy back. 80 seconds on the sidelines.
Oh, you know what? I just have to think about this. I came up with a very smart idea here. In a lot of these engagements, right, they're losing the fights because the Tombstone goes down.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, if I'm not mistaken on this, I think they can use a glyph, right, to save the Tombstone. I thought that change was made a long time ago.
I have no
If
idea.
I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure you can.
Okay.
Because it could have like actually changed the outcome of this game if they manage to glyph the tombstone and it doesn't die.
Team fight's potentially going to break out here. Chain Frost is used defensively, just kind of a zoning Chain Frost to slow Na'Vi down. They got to buy a little bit of time for the Brew to respawn. They don't want to be forced to waste this buyback. And
Okay, I have to actually check the chat on this. Someone has to give me the answer on that one.
I'm googling it right now, so hopefully I don't miss any kills. Dota Secrets, Glyphworks and Undying Tombstone. That sounds like a reliable source. DotaSecrets.wordpress.com.
There we go. That's what they had to do to win the game. The way they play it. Just glyph the tombstone.
Hey, I mean, I guess it's an all-in strat, right? If it doesn't work,
I mean, it's not like they need to use the glyph anyway. Like, they never pressured in their base, unless they lose a fight.
That's true. And if they lose that fight, they're probably losing regardless, so... Might as well go for it. But now Illidan gets an Aegis. And he's up to 4.3k gold. He's got his butterfly, more or less, if he wants to buy it. I'm wondering if that will be the choice for him. That's definitely a next level theory, though. Or strategy. The Tombstone Glyph.
But now that they're actually on the downhill battle, the first time in this game, 40 minutes in, Dandy's split pushing.
Yeah, imagine if he had been doing it at 10-15 minutes.
Which he most likely could have done without any issues. Like, I mean, obviously he still takes it somewhat a risk, but let's say as soon as he has his BKB, he is literally free of doing whatever he wants to do.
Well, and the other thing is, like, they couldn't have afforded to send 4 heroes after him, or even 2 or 3, because if you remember bottom lane, they were winning fights with just Tombstone,
exactly.
Poison Nova,
like, I mean,
and
that's kind
Brazier.
of how the strat works, right? Like, you want to create space for Lycan, and if Lycan is left alone for just 20-30 seconds, he's gonna take your tower, he's gonna take your Rex, he's gonna melt on something in the process.
Well, it's still okay for the Lycan to split push like this, but yeah, it just doesn't have the same impact it would at 10-15 minutes when Drow has no items. With BKB up, Butterfly now as well. She's hitting for almost 400 a pop. She's getting pretty scary, and this is where the siege will begin quickly. If they want to push in. And I'm not sure there's any reason for NVMI not to. They've got the top lane pushing out. Goblak can deal with that, and DK Phobos can TP in.
Alright, I have
siege.
another solution for this game.
Okay.
I think Razor needs to get a Blink Dagger, and all he does is like blink
Follow
into
the Drow
Drow
around.
and like link him, and then like just make sure, alright, this is going for us. He needs a BKB before that first though. I'm just like trying to think of solutions here for Na'Vi, because this game is looking very grim at this point.
Unfortunately, I guess Havos could sell this Ogre Club, but yeah, he needs the BKB.
But he needs the BKB as well.
Otherwise,
so.
Drow's just going to slow him with Frost Arrows, and he's not going anywhere.
I mean, he's gonna silence him.
So basically, if Havost had like 4k extra gold in the bank, they could totally turn this. Well, Hani, do you have a money machine that you can give to Na'Vi? Barring that, they're in trouble. Havost just gets jumped on, instantly dealt with by the Scrath Magel, and now the push up. This might be it. Boulder toss. Onto the Venomancer. He'll blink to disjoint that one. But now they surround FNG. Well, simultaneously, Skyndel's going to control Dendy. Keep him out of this fight so the Drow Ranger can do her work. And they'll start backing off to deal with the Wolves. Actually a little bit out of position as they begin to static link the Brew aspect. DK Phobos has to back off, but he's got a secondary split to throw out, and he'll do it now. And he'll chase forward again. Havost is bought back. If he dies again, I just don't know where their damage is going to come from. They haven't finished him off yet, though, and the Drow is starting to drop pretty low. She is not going to be strong without her teammates. Illidan going to go down once. I think this is a double death for him. And the Brew split's busy diving Havost in the base. Clap. Oh, just hits him barely.
Clink.
Meanwhile, Illidan trying to fight Dendy, but Dendy's BKB is enough to keep him alive for a while. Scandal finally kills him off. Illidan still standing strong. He's life-stealing his way out of this one. One more decay brings him down. Will Scandal end up getting this kill? It looks like he will. Funnick will fall as well. 4 heroes dead. It's a buyback now on the Lycanthrope.
What is happening in this game?
What is this Dota? What is going on? I feel like I'm going insane, man. This is so bizarre compared to all the games of this tournament.
I think we just missed a few TP backs to base. in this last engagement. I was waiting for it.
Yeah. Scandal is in a bit far. Although he does have an orb to get out of here. I'll need to use it soon. And Dendy's pursuing where he plans to jaunt to. No, he didn't actually go. He got Yule's
Well,
up.
I think he actually... Wait, did he cast his TP there?
I'm not sure. I
It
just don't
looked
get
like for a
Yule's.
second he casted a TP.
Well, if he had a TP, it's gone now. So now
That's what I was like looking for. He should have. Alright, what is going on? He's gonna dagger again downwards. He pinged it out as well.
Yeah, he did use
Now
his
he's
TP.
gonna orb upwards
He's
again.
no TP.
Nope.
No, but Yule's is there. Now he's done for. We'll finish
Oh, he's
it
gonna make
again.
it again. He's gonna... No, he won't make it actually. No, he won't make it.
They didn't actually get Rex after all that. It was a dieback on the Razor. It was a death and a buyback on the Lycan. But they lost their Aegis, and they didn't get Rex, honey. It's not over yet.
It's alright. I believe in Dendy.
What is this game? I think you've brought out the clown in the players. It's been a long tournament for them as well, because the first 2 days were just filled with internet issues, computer crashes. Like 8 BO1s took us 12, 14 hours, so I think they...
Yeah, I kinda saw your tweets. I was like, yeah. Must be very enjoyable. You get like one game to cast. Players just sit there waiting.
Yeah, I can imagine they were frustrated as well, but here comes the big fight. Illidan, BKBs, stands and delivers against Funnick, and he'll quickly bring down the Undying. Yep, he'll fall. The trade's there, though. Illidan's surrounded. He'll cheese up and try to retreat out, but the Razor's stuck onto him real good. And there's no backup. Where's that friggin' Brewmaster? He's now joining the fight, but Goblak, in the meantime, is off in no man's land. And they will lose their Drow Ranger for this, and without the Drow...
Don't kill him, don't kill him, don't kill him, don't kill the panda! Oh my god, don't kill it.
Oh, but when Panda's on the retreat
they
out,
want to get it.
they might kill it even if they don't want to. Yes, they do. The Razor ultimate kills him, so he'll be able to blink out and retreat. And now he Shivas just to slow down Havost here.
He just wants to like taunt them.
There's a Drow buyback, by the way, but this Drow needs a new BKB, man. She's just, and I don't even know if it's enough. Like they have to do a better job of protecting her in these fights.
I mean, I kind of feel Havost in that thing. You know what? He's like thinking, all right. He saw the timer obviously as well. He clicked on him, right? And while he clicked on him, he like he meant to go a bit too close, so ulti killed him in the end. But like he was ready to use his plasma field on spot of when he's gonna come back, right?
Yeah.
Like it was not as bad as it looked, but it was still kind of like, yeah, questionable.
It was also just like, by the time he realized it, it's not like he could just stop attacking.
Yeah, that's what I
He had
mean.
the
Like,
ult going.
at that point, obviously, like, the way I see it is he's like, alright, I need to click on him to see when I have to cast it. And then, like, needs to at the same time look that he's not coming too close with his positioning.
Oh my.
But as it looks like, FNG is gonna turn into a late game carry Eng.
It's with no items,
kidding.
really.
I'm not even kidding. If he gets to hit a few times, he's gonna get the axe very soon. If he wants to, he might turn it into a Radiance.
If Navi actually wins this game... Oh
I actually
my
hope they
goodness.
win this after all.
NVMI are just gonna be so flabbergasted if that happens. Like, what do we have to do? Shiva's blink in. Now the silence and just Orby now. Just to keep these lanes pushed in. They need this next Aegis.
Well, at the bright side, no Raxes are gone yet.
48 minutes in with a Lycan and a Drow. Who would have thought it?
And
Now
he
they gotta
still
split for
doesn't have a
Havost.
BKB.
Oh my
Havost.
Oh mech. Just casual
What the
casual
dude?
chain frost. Why not? It's only got a minute cooldown. He's playing very ballsy.
I mean, I get that he's frustrated. He needs that BKB, but I don't think Suicide is gonna help it. He can buy back though in 10 seconds.
Well, last time that he had to buy back, it was a dieback, so I'll hope to have a better objective obtained on the back of that. They
Oh, they're
jump on
going
Illidan.
middle?
He's gonna Manta out of that slow and immediately goes for the TP out. Denty doesn't have a Basher. He went for the MKB to deal with the Brewmaster. But that means now a 4-second BKB for the Drow Ranger. That is hardly enough time to do anything.
What is Inch doing?
In terms of items?
Yeah, I mean, see, I can see it as well that he gets a hex, right? Like it might be not too bad of an idea, because in theory, if you look at the damage, Ent is not going to drop to anyone, but it's not against Skywrath. He has Eos, probably Drow with having BKB on, he's gonna die. But yeah, next to that, I think he should live, but I think he's gonna aim for the hex. The more money he's saving up, it looks like he's gonna aim for the hex. I'm not sure how good that is, but you can see also in this kind of game the weakness of Drow. Like if a fight goes really well, is Drow can definitely just bring down anyone if he gets the space. But if a Lycan sits on Drow's ass, he just gets nothing done.
And this is with the Lycan not having like a Basher or Abyssal Blade.
He doesn't need any. The thing is, it can be a hero that literally just like stays next to the Drow. He doesn't even have to have damage, but it just negates the entire idea of the hero. Drow can have a hero around him, and that's why often like the hero fades off. Illidan obviously does a great job with a hero. As often as they win with just having the Drow, his positioning is very good.
And it also is why we've seen Eternal Envy go for the Ultra Mobility build with like the Mask of Madness, sometimes even the Sanjin Yasha, just so you can keep that distance.
Yeah, like I mean, I totally agree. Once you get caught, you're just like you're like rubbish anyway. So you might as well try to get as much damage as possible. Like he aims to go as greedy as possible. All right, engagement middle.
Goes on the brew. Well, Shivas.
And it's a TP out. No,
just
not yet.
They're gonna take this rush. Will there be any contest from Na'Vi? That's the question. Dendi pushing out the mid lane. Just
I don't think they have a chance to do that. But Havost, I think he finally has his BKB. Does he? Yes.
51-minute BKB on their I would have rage quit this game if I were Havost by now. This is just the most frustrating game ever. And it looks like Na'Vi just might have had it won at 10 minutes too.
Oh, they see the chicken. Wait, is anyone going to try to snipe it?
It's a completed hex, but yeah, there's no one in range.
It's the end checks that I was talking about, but it's nice to have for sure. They might wanna. They saw it though. And they even saw the drop off of the item, so they know there's smoke. They know that they're there if they paid attention, and I'm very certain they did pay attention. So the edge right now in this fight is on NVMI because they know what's happening.
Clap is there to start it off, and Havost is in the front lines with the BKB. He feels confident to go in onto Illidan, but I don't know if he has the damage, even with the Static Link. Well, finally, he's stolen enough that Illidan gets run over. Will end up dropping. They have no Drow Ranger for this engagement. Havost just gets his head lopped off by a Chain Frost of all things. They needed the Chain Frost to end him. Godlike puts him out of his misery. Meanwhile, Vangskor blinks north. They've lost 3. They buy back on the Drow. They're going to lose more here. The Venomancer's about to drop. That's 4 dead. But you could see, I mean, even with the items that the Drow has, when Havost runs at her...
He had a Nova ready as well, right? I was like, yep, he just gets a Chain Frost punched in his face. He had a magic stick to live through that, but I actually think he had a Nova to follow up as well. So yeah, he was definitely dead.
That might have been the funniest thing I've ever seen. Oh man, Hex on Dendi.
I think it only gets this funny because this game is like kind of like
ridiculous.
Yeah, pretty much. BKB up on Dendi, BKB up on Dendi, BKB up on Dendi, BKB up on Dendi, Dendi. Oh, that's a buyback. All right. Oh, he just wanted to waste time.
Yeah, he wasted a few seconds, but NVMI, they'll force Na'Vi out of the Gameshow Dota 2 League. This is it. They had a nice run in the playoffs, but NVMI, for today, are your CIS champions. And they'll kill Dendi off one more time. Congratulations to them. They'll take the lion's share of the prize money. I believe it's around $25,000, so plus full travel support. So not too shabby for a 3 days trip. Oh man,
Congrats! I think isn't that first winner of Goblik on that LAN?
Has he ever won a LAN before?
I think he's just like us. I never won a LAN.
You can relate then. This must feel pretty sweet for him. And
I actually think it's pretty good for him. Like, to be honest, when you see like the old Na'Vi pretty much dominating the entire Eastern scene, it's nice for them probably, like as a region, to have a like Russian team with Go Black being kind of in that area.
yeah, it's nice to have multiple strong teams from the region as well. Like Empire, we saw like earlier this year was looking really strong. The old Empire with Funny.
I mean, you know, it might give him also this confidence boost, so it's pretty nice.
Yeah, it's good to have a more robust CIS scene in general, and you could see Havost is just all smiles. It's only kind of a warm up tournament in some ways, as we're just getting out of that post TI4 funk for a lot of these teams. Navi will have plenty more opportunities over the coming weeks and months, and probably more late events to attend than Go Black will, just because they're Navi, so they'll get invited to a lot. But yeah, that's going to conclude the Game Show Dota 2 League, guys. Thank you for joining us, Hani. Thank you very much for casting with me, man. It would have been a long final game without you here to keep me company.
Well, my predictions were kind of wrong, but I guess at least I was banking on a Doom pick. I think Navi would have won with the first big Doom.
They also did so well with the Void for Funnick, and I just didn't see it once this finals, but oh well, hindsight's 2020. Guys, with that being said, be sure to follow Hani on Twitter at Kai Hani with a 4 for the A in Hani and a 1 for the I in Hani. And Hani, before you go, any shout-outs, anything you want to add, or closing words of wisdom?
I think to have a stun in the game sometimes helps you from preventing TPs.
It does. Oops. I can't
Yeah.
even type your name right now. But yeah, it does help to have stuns, I agree. That's a strong way to draft in general. Alright,
Right.
thank you very much for joining me, man. Hope you have a great day. Guys, thanks for watching the Game Show Dota 2 League. For all VODs, head over to youtube.com/BeyondTheSummit.tv. And of course, if you enjoy my cast, you can follow me on Twitter at LDDota. We are continuing our coverage of other Dota 2 action now. Starlighter Europe is ongoing. But for now, from myself, Hani, and everyone else who's been here today, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.